Hello, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Malcolm Follis. I'm one of the founding directors of the Changemaker Group. And today I'm lucky enough to be joined by one of my fellow changemakers and colleague, Tina Jennings, who's a change expert. Looking forward to hearing from you, Tina. Hello.
Hello, Malcolm. Great to be with you today.
So this is a short webinar as part of our 15-minute lunchtime webinar series that we're doing on resetting organizations after the pandemic. And in this one, we're going to be talking about resetting the employee experience. So Tina, why is this such a big topic at the moment?
I think resetting the employee experience is hot for employees and employers alike, given what we've been through over the last 2 years, a cosmic change of the status quo. You know, one day we were happily working 9 to 5, 5 day a week in a very stereotypical working week, and then overnight everything changed and we completely flipped the status quo on its head. So I think it's front of mind. People have experienced so much. Some people never worked from home before. Then, you know, possibilities have been endless in terms of what we've experienced. So the curtain has been pulled back, and I think people have had time to think. They know what they want. They know what they don't want. They are seeking that alignment. You know, life is short, and I think that is something that people are really have taken into consideration for what they want moving forward. And that balance between the employee and employer, that relationship, is definitely more, from my perspective, a 50-50. And I think that also shows in terms of the war for talent. So, you know, a great quote from the National Economic Council recently said, "The shift is finally happening. Executives and employees are changing the workplace narrative from the great resignation to the great upgrade." And that kind of spoke to the fact that people really know what they want now, and actually employers are wanting to hold on to their talent. So that retention thing is very front of mind. But likewise, if people aren't getting what they want from organizations, then they are not afraid to look elsewhere. And of course, they've now got that global stage. So we've got that opportunity has opened up. We are not restricted to geography anymore. And I think that is, you know, part of that reset is around resetting expectations as well as the experience, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the 9 to 5 logic was part of the industrial age, and we are living through the digital age. So it actually going back to 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, it's actually harking back to an age that doesn't make sense anymore. It just simply doesn't.
No.
So what are the what evidence is there that the shape of work is actually changing?
There is so much research out there, Malcolm, and some data there from the Microsoft 365 data that shows that actually flexible work, the productivity has been significant over the last couple of years. And actually this whole presenteeism that you're not working unless you're physically in a building isn't true. It never was true. So I think that we can see here that that flexibility can sometimes mean always on, but it doesn't have to. And I think that whole employee experience is where we're going to have to look at ourselves as employees, as employers, to work out that productivity. How do we get the most and the best from our people alongside that mental wellness and mental resilience? And I know one of our first webinars was on resilience, so that's worth a watch to actually tap into some thoughts there. But it's that fine balance of how do we make this work so that we have a sustainable and engaging and high performing outcome.
So if we reset employee experience, some of the benefits for employers, again, there's quite a bit of research being done in this space as well, hasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, the research, so the Harvard Business Review recently had an article that suggested that companies with higher employee engagement are enjoying 2.5 times higher profit margins than those with low engagement. Other research suggests that executives who say their culture is extremely healthy are 1.5 times more likely to report average revenue growth of more than 15% over 3 years. So, the benefits are significant, and there's lots and lots of research in this space to reinforce that it is about engaging people. It is about making sure that we understand the talent in our organizations and how to retain it. And it's also about the culture that we're trying to, the behaviors, what we expect to see, feel, and hear around here is just as important.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious to read that what employees want post-COVID compared to what they want pre-COVID. There wasn't a lot of difference. I mean, they want to be valued by the organization. They want to be valued by their line manager. They want to share a sense of belonging, that they're working for an organization that has got a higher purpose, that resonates with their personal purpose. They want to be part of a high-performing, caring team. They want some meaningful advancement in their career, and they want the flexibility to work when they want to work. Those needs existed pre-COVID, but I think we're just being glossed over, or maybe, paid lip service to. Whereas post-COVID, they seem to be front and center.
It's absolutely front and center. Another research paper suggested that 90% of executives believe their company knows the importance of purpose at work, yet only 46% report that purpose has an impact on strategic decision making. So, executives know that this reconnecting of purpose is critically important. The question is, how do you go about doing that while still delivering business impact and outcomes? Because this is big stuff, behavioral change and cultural transformation. So it won't happen overnight, but it is, to start to reset it is exactly the right time now.
So if you're an employer and you're wanting to reset employee experience, what kind of things would you look at? What kind of questions would you start asking?
The simple truth of it is, Malcolm, doesn't matter whether you are 10, 100, 100,000 people, knowing your people and designing work that they love is your unique selling point. This is what's going to unlock untapped potential in your business. And there was a brilliant piece recently by the Harvard Business Review that suggested that designing work that people love is actually one of your most impactful amplifiers of performance. So simple things like asking questions. Were your people excited every day last week? Did they have the chance to showcase their strengths? By tapping into the core strengths, those innate proclivities of your people, is where you can actually design work to unlock their energy, their high energy, and actually understand what's draining energy across the business. There are many profiling tools that we can use to help with that data, but actually, a conversation is a great starting place. Actually really getting to know who you've got and how to make the most of their skills and talents.
Yeah, it's this one size fits one. It struck me as an interesting concept that we design work to suit the employee to a degree, at least. And I was also struck by the fact that the little goes a long way. If somebody says, look, 20% of what I do, I really love doing, that is a massive loyalty anchor. But if they're saying I hate everything I do, or it's only 5% I enjoy, then that means they're updating their CV and they're probably looking elsewhere. So understanding what people love doing is quite key to all of this, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, that it's a retention tool. Is that, the more people love what they do, the more they want to do. And I think that behavior breeds behavior across an organization as well. A number of clients that I'm working with at the moment in an agile way are able to really make the most of it by understanding their talents, by fertilizing and using employees across projects, across the organization. So really giving lots of different experiences to employees, really tapping into a whole variety of talent across the organization, just gives the employees opportunity and the business, flexibility in terms of how they design their outputs across the organization.
So if an organization wanted to look at this, what levers could they pull in order to make this shift happen?
I always go back to the employee life cycle, you know, from entry into an organization and that whole experience to exit. How do you use that to your advantage? And it really will depend on what your organization challenge is as to where you want to focus. For example, I'm working with an organization at the moment that has rapidly grown through acquisition. They don't understand their capability across the organization, so they're focusing on performance and capability. What competencies have they got across the organization? That's going to be a really quick win for them. So it really does depend in terms of what the challenge is, but the employee experience is how you're going to unlock the talent in your organization. And I think all of the clients that I'm working with today are not only looking at the purpose, the vision, what are they looking to do, what's the strategy, it's how do we do it, what behaviors do we want to see, what behaviors are we going to recognize, and that connects to the values of every organization and the culture that we're trying to see, feel and hear around here as the that's the foundation for each one of these experiences. And if you can get clear on that, you can unlock a whole lot of potential with limited cost, actually.
So in answer to the question, how would you go about it? I think you would do a diagnostic first to see which of these employee lifecycle areas are the ones that are going to give you the biggest return in terms of
where's your pain? Yeah.
So do a kind of diagnostic to understand. I was always interested in one of my clients doing a focus on the exit interview, for example. There was they had a kind of scant regard for it before, but now they're really focused on it because they get some real insights as to why some of their talent is moving on, and those insights aren't really present elsewhere in the organization. So that for them, that was a particular a kind of area where they got quite a lot of insight from. So I think go on, sorry, Tina.
Yeah, the same thing, recruitment. So if you're starting to see and feel behaviors in your organization that aren't actually what you want to see for your fit for future organization, then, it's what are you bringing into the organization and how are you assessing that talent as they come in? So again, you can use the core values to assess what behaviors am I looking for in that interview experience, and actually how do I make sure more than I have before that the behaviors that are coming in are the ones that we want to thrive in the organization, just as well as performance management. Again, making sure if you're not seeing the behaviors that you want to see in an organization, then let's make sure that we address that through the performance management. But yeah, these are the levers that you've got. It depends on the challenge.
Yeah, it depends how much you pull, depending on as you say, the challenge you face. Brilliant. Thanks, Tina. So we've looked at why it's a hot topic. We've looked at some of the data and statistics that tell us, why employee experience and putting the spotlight on your employee experience can deliver real benefit and value, both for yourself as an organization, but also obviously for your employees and what some of the benefits might be. I guess, every organization is kind of finding their own way through this challenge, because organizations are unique in that the people who work for them don't work for anyone else. It is truly that people are your greatest asset. And it's interesting how employees are beginning to trump shareholders in terms of importance, I think, post-COVID. Shareholders need dividends, they need return on financial investment, but the way they get that is through the employees in the organization. So organizations are shifting the focus a little bit to make sure that the employees have their rightful seat in the priority list. So I think there's lots to talk about in this space. We could obviously talk for hours, but we had a contract to say 15 minutes and we're coming up to our 15 minutes. So Tina, just remains to say thank you for joining us and talking about this and giving us your insights. I think if anyone wants to deep dive into any of the things we've covered, we're fairly easy to talk to. Give us a call, drop us an email, Tina at the Changemaker Group or Malcolm at the Changemaker Group, or just check out our website. There are some information and some collateral on there as well as to how people might tackle this topic. So thanks for your time again, Tina. It's been really good talking to you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thanks for everyone for dialing in.